Welcome to this installment of Marriott MBA Today. I'm Tim Hansen, joined by Professor McQueen. And yesterday we talked a little bit about the unemployment situation here in the U.S. and our attempts to come out of the recession and recover in the jobs market. I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about what the government is trying to do or has done to spur job growth here in the U.S.
Yeah, well, first of all, that graph was pretty depressing, and whatever they've tried, we know hasn't worked as well as we hoped. But I put together just another graph that will show us the key attempts by the government to stimulate this economy.
So we see here that top line, from what I understand, is an average of the prior recession since World War II, correct?
Right. So excluding the one we're in, the other 10, this is what a typical jobs number would look like, or jobs growth would look like as we come out of the recession at time zero. And you can see normally we just keep growing and growing and growing.
And that bottom line is the recession that we're currently coming out of.
That's us.
And so we see there different measures the government has tried to pull, different levers they tried to pull to stimulate job growth. We see TARP, stimulus, and the different quantitative easings that they've tried to use to stimulate the growth. Can you explain a little bit more what these are? What was TARP?
Yeah, in 2008, Bush was still in office, and Congress passed the Troubled Asset Relief Program. And the idea there was banks were locked up. No one could get a loan, and no one could get a mortgage. Companies couldn't expand because there was no one could get any money out of the banks because the banks were worried about their ratios and bad debt and everything. And so TARP was an attempt to infuse liquidity into the economy. So literally, the U.S. government got approval to have $800 billion and to invest in companies. The original idea was they're going to buy back troubled assets, but they quickly realized that could do more damage than good, and who knows what to pay for the troubled assets. So instead, most of the TARP money was used to invest in financial institutions.
And we saw that may have helped some of the financial institutions, but it didn't help from a job perspective, and they had to come up with the stimulus. What was the stimulus?
So the stimulus was 2009. Obama was in, and this was an over $800 billion, another attempt, round two, if you will, of fiscal policy. And the fiscal policy also went into three buckets. There was a tax break. I got maybe a $600 check in the mail. And that was one bucket, tax breaks for, and hopefully all these people would spend the money and create new jobs. The second bucket was a lot of entitlement programs needed help. So states have unemployment problems, states have Medicaid, Medicare problems, and they were unable to really literally pay for all these entitlements that they'd committed to. And a lot of states were able to expand unemployment from the normal 26 weeks all the way up to 99 weeks. So the second bucket was about entitlements. And then the third bucket were these grants and loans to companies, shovel-ready products. Let's go build a bridge. Let's go give a loan to a company so they can make windmills. Let's give a grant to a university professor so they can study coal capture. And so anyway, the stimulus was three buckets. Let's get some money to the taxpayers in a check in the mail. Let's help people who are unemployed or on welfare and give the states enough money that they can continue their entitlement programs. I worry that was, and then the third bucket was these grants and loans to businesses, to colleges, and to stimulate some shovel-ready products.
So those were fiscal policy measures. And then we know that some monetary policy came after that, the quantitative easing.
Yeah, so the quantitative easing is literally the Fed is buying up assets. So the Fed, in round one, they bought a bunch of Treasury securities. A bunch, when I mean a bunch. And they expanded the money supply, expanded their balance sheet, and that didn't do much. And so, and the attempt there is by buying all these bonds, is to lower interest rates. It lowered them some, especially the short-term interest rates. In round two, instead of buying short-term treasuries, in QE2 they bought long-term treasuries, and then they started buying mortgage-backed securities. And then in Operation Twist, they would sell some short ones and buy some long ones. And the whole attempt here was to drive interest rates down.
And the thinking is, by driving interest rates down, businesses would start investing more and more money to grow jobs.
Yeah, that's a theory. Low interest rates, people will buy houses, buy cars. Businesses will build a new factory, add employees. And the good news is the Fed did it. We have phenomenally low interest rates. I get mad, I'm a saver, right? paid off my car, my house, and everything, and now I'm saving money. I'm getting like a whopping 25 basis point return. But they really did get interest rates down. The problem is no one's borrowing money.
So hopefully businesses and individuals start to use that low interest rate to start spending money.
Yeah, I think there are kind of a lot of them are holding their breath to see if we fall off the fiscal cliff and who's going to win the election. But interest rates are low. The pump has been primed as well as we can, and if Keynesian fiscal policy ever worked, we threw a bunch of money at it, and so hopefully some of this will start to kick in, but it hasn't yet.
Hasn't yet. Hopefully it will, and the job market will recover as a result. That's all we have time for today, but thanks for joining us on this edition of MBA Marriott today.